But I'm going to have you turn to, let's start out with Joshua 24:15. Joshua 24:15. And whoever has that, read it out loud slowly so I can understand it. But Joshua 24:15. Someone read that for me. I'm going to have you read a bunch of different verses, so keep your Bibles warm and friendly. But Joshua chapter 24, verse 15. Go ahead.
But if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve, whether the gods of your forefathers served in the river, or the gods of the Amorites, whose land you are in. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord.
You see that a lot of times in people's houses. As for me and my Lord, we will serve the Lord in our house. But the people had to decide whether they would obey the Lord or obey the local gods, is what he was just reading. Which one are you going to obey? And it's easy to, how do I say that, quietly rebel. That might be too strong a word, but I'll use that word. Going about life in our own way. And but time comes when you have to choose who you will obey. At some point, you will choose who you're going to obey. And the choice is yours, nobody else's. And will you obey God? Or will you obey man, basically? And once you have chosen to be in control by God's Spirit, it's not a one-time deal. I'll move on. I think I can fit this in a little later. Good decision making is the key to a happy life. Good decision making. But good decision making is not a skill some of us naturally are not blessed with, or some are blessed with. While poor decision making is a handicap others are born with, courage, education, or aging process doesn't automatically produce good decision making. You would hope it would, but it doesn't guarantee you. Spending time with good decision makers is a wise choice. I'm not a cafe guy, a coffee guy. And I just told Judy, when I was in Sioux Falls the other day, I called Todd, and so there it goes against what I just said. Hey, Todd, you want to meet up for dinner? But I don't go to the wherever and have coffee in the morning and talk nothing to a bunch of people. I've never done that. I never have, and it's enough for me to go to the shop and the guys are sitting around the table. Okay, it's time to move on. We've talked about enough stuff. You know, that's me. That's me. I like to surround myself with people that are, instead of complainers and whiners, about people that are doing something. Well, how come that corner's so good, or how come you're so successful in the roofing, or whatever? But that's who I like to hang around with, people that make good decisions. And that doesn't necessarily transform into me making good decisions, but I try to be around people that are making good decisions. It doesn't necessarily rub off on you. And the earlier you teach, I'm getting to my point here, you teach the skills to your children, the better you'll be. Someone look up Proverbs 22:6. Proverbs 22:6. And I'm going to turn there too. Proverbs 22:6. And read that for me. Someone, Proverbs 22:6, read that.
Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he shall not or will not depart from it.
Boy, that's pretty simple, isn't it? But pretty hard. It's natural to want to bring up all your children alike, trained in the same way. But now I can speak from experience. This verse implies that parents should discern individuals and special strength that God has given each one. And each child, natural inclinations that parents can develop. My two kids, I can use this as the best illustration, but when my kids were small, and now they're old, and I'm older, But with Jeremy, most of you know Jeremy, but when he was a teenager, I could go, no, don't do that. He would start crying and obey. If I told Jeremy in high school, be home early, he would be home 10, 11 o'clock. Okay. With our daughter, she gets this from her wife, my wife, Ann. Be home early. She'd come home at 2 o'clock. Well, that's early. Totally different personalities. You had to explain in detail to Jennifer. Well, early, that 2 o'clock. She only did that once. But Jeremy, be home early. He'd be home I didn't have to define it. He defined it himself. And he'd be home early. I remember very distinctly Jennifer had 2 black eyes. I did not give them to her. She was jumping on the bed and fell and hit her face on the dresser drawer or whatever. Do not jump on the bed. Figure this out. So not very much longer, there she is jumping on the couch. Well, you never said don't jump on the couch. Totally different kids. Totally different. You can't just, this is how it is with kids. And as parents, you probably all can relate stories of the same thing. I see smiles at, for sure. You can't just stamp it and say everybody's going to do this. But it's our job to train them. Find their skills. Find what, you could go the opposite what I just said, and there's opposite things that are positive, opposite things that aren't so positive. But decision. Did somebody just read 22:6? Yes, you did. Thank you. And but many parents make the choice that hurts the kids in the long run by doing that. When parents teach a child how to make decisions, they don't have to watch them every step. Teach them how to make decisions. And this is what I want to help. I'm not saying that I arrived and I did it right. I'm not saying that at all. But it's your job, wherever your kids are at, this high or this high. I guess it never stops, does it, being a parent? I mean, hey, Mom, how you doing? If they're 30 years old, well, hey, idiot, what are you doing? You never get done. You got to keep teaching. I don't know, Matt, you're probably teaching Alan how to do that. Sometimes it can change. This is not going the way I wanted to go. Matt, way to hurt it. No. Well, let's talk about this some more. Maybe we should. But every situation is different, and that's natural. I can take this to the extreme with my dad. It's things that he's 96. It's whatever, but things that never used to bother him now bothers him. I stop there every morning for a few minutes to see how he's doing, make sure whatever, and every night. And it's in 96. I expect it, but it's going to be a dry year. Man, I just heard it. The TV weatherman said we got 8 years of drought. Dad, they don't know what it's going to do tomorrow. Well, the next 10 days it's dry, and that night a big thunderstorm will come up and dump an inch of rain somewhere. But that's part of, so it's kind of reversed a little bit. Things that now he's concerned about used to never bother him, but I'm getting kind of off track here. Okay, so teach your children to follow principles. Number 1, the consequences you get are the results of choices you make. Let your children know it's not their circumstances, but decisions they make about them that governs their lives. It's their decisions that they make. You may think your kids know this, but they don't. Kids are, and we're talking smaller children, not Matt's age. So you're with me here. Their wiring problem. Well, maybe you do have wiring problems, man. No, I'm just kidding. Their wiring problems makes cause and effect. It's different. They don't know these things, and sometimes as parents we take it for granted that they should know these things. But it's our jobs as parents to teach them these things. Teach them, cause and effect. Difficult to connect until their brain reaches adolescence or adults. But I'm going, there's adults that don't make good decisions. What are you thinking? Well, even the other day, things are going, I'm trying to be careful how I say this, but I said, I don't plan, when I do something, I'm going to buy that. That's going to be a loser for me. I know I'm going to lose a bunch of money. To me, it's just common sense. The next person or a kid can't see it that way. Adults do the same thing. Why did you buy your third motorcycle? You can't afford the payments on one. You know where I'm going with this. So kids need to be taught. Parents need to teach them. And parents, if you haven't learned it, I'm not speaking to anybody here. I know you've all done the right thing. But the kids aren't stupid. And they just need guidance, and that's our job. And even our job as teachers or people sitting in the pews, we can help kids. I always thought the kids liked me, but it's the Tootsie Rolls. But whatever. And I enjoy that as much as anybody. It's fun. Here's a Tootsie Roll, whatever. I have no idea what it costs. It doesn't matter. But we all can be part of kids' lives, basically. We should be part. We should be encouraging. We should be an example that I want to be like her. I would like to be like him. Why do they do that? Why are they doing this? It doesn't quit. Judy, as she travels, she goes to see. They're still watching you, Judy. They're still listening to what you say. They're still listening to how you react. I talked to Wes Pratt last night on the phone. It's not good. It's not good. And he was upbeat and happy. I've been to the doctor. Most of you know my situation. And they have said, boy, if everybody had your attitude, they'd be a lot better off. I don't fake it. He wasn't faking it. But what are you going to do? Cry and whine and pout and mope about my poor circumstances. Get over it. Somebody needs encouraging. I don't do it a lot, but I enjoy the few times I do. I don't mind going to nursing homes. These people tend to be on the negative side. I just like to try to bring joy and happiness to them. Oh, good. Whatever. I keep getting off track. But anyway, we got to guide them. You will always have options. Give your kids, you got options, kids. You got options. Kids commonly feel powerless and hopeless when reacting to negative circumstances. They tend to be either or thinkers. They conclude that things are either all good or they're all bad. And teach them to think both ways. Because a bad decision can be a positive thing. You can work with them. If you do this, that's a parent's job. This is what's going to happen. Don't criticize them. Don't chew them out. Don't get mad. Don't scream. Don't yell. Well, Susie, what do you think's going to happen? Yesterday, good example. Jennifer and David were up. I had a house over here that just keeps giving. And they're up helping give, working. And they have Brady, who's whatever he is, 14 or 15, somewhere in that age. And he has a car. And as parents, don't speed. Drive careful. You know the story. Your parents said there. They're here. Brady calls. He works at the country club in Sioux Falls. Mom, yeah, I got pulled over. Really? Yeah, in Sioux Falls. What were you doing? Speeding. Really? And I told Jennifer, she was telling me, I said, as a parent, it's maybe a bad thing, but it's a good thing. You can hound your kids forever, but when a stops, it has a different effect. And maybe it's a blessing that it happened at whatever age he is, that he got stopped and roll down your window, kid, or whatever he said. I have no idea. But it scared the fire out of him, I hope, and it'll make him think. So it's a team, whatever. I'll say, I think we'll agree. We can't just close their eyes and pretend they know it. We need to teach them. And that's what I'm trying to get at here in this little point is other people can help. That policeman maybe helped David and Jennifer with their kid, Brady, by somebody else saying, And Jennifer says, well, you're paying it out of your own pocket. You know, that's a lesson learned that maybe only a policeman could teach. Now, I played softball for years with the cops in Brookings, for several years. And I got to be friends with them. I knew a lot of them, chief, whatever. And that's when Jennifer was in high school, Brady's age. And she had a heavier foot. Speeding in Brookings. Jennifer pulls over, and I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but she got pulled over for speeding. And the guy seen she was an even. And the policeman says, is your dad Rick? Yep. It's your lucky day. I'm going to let you off. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'm not sure if she learned a lesson by that, but she didn't get caught. I was going to say she never was speeding again, but I didn't say that. She hasn't been caught since speeding. But anyway, the influence never stops. As being a parent, it never quits. Being an aunt or an uncle, you can be what you need to be. Don't, well, that ain't my problem. Well, help some of you have never been parents of teenagers before. I was there. Listen to somebody that has parents that have kids that teenagers. They can help. Don't close your eyes. But kids are looking for options, and they have options. Number 2, Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. Someone look that up and read that for me. Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians. There we go. Galatians. Let me get there. Galatians. Don't go too fast, could I? I got to find it. Galatians, Ephesians. There we go. Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. Let me get there. And then somebody can read Galatians 6. Oh, yeah. Yep. Galatians 6, verse 7. Someone read that. You can do this. It can't get much simpler than that. And I'm not standing up here like I've arrived. That is not. But if you gossip about your friends and all of a sudden you have no friends, there's probably a reason. If you plant, back to the farming thing, if you plant a kernel of pumpkins and corn grows, it doesn't work that way. Whatever you plant is what you're going to get. Now, I didn't plant... I didn't plant all these weeds out here. This land that the church had, and the guy that farmed it previous didn't really do a real nice job of keeping the weeds out. So I'm trying some edible beans this year. And those are navy beans over there, and a friend of mine, White, we're going to try to do something, whatever. But all of a sudden, all these, we put a pre-plant chemical down, and I planted the navy beans, and the chemical worked, and all of a sudden all these weeds started coming. Oh, well, we'll just spray it with XYZ. Well, edible beans, you can't spray with XYZ. There's no chemical that will kill those black nightshade. And there's no chemical in edible beans that'll kill woolly cupgrass, a nasty weed. You get like tree stumps. They get about this tall, and they say there's 1 million seeds in every one of those woolly cup. Black nightshade is bad for edible beans. What happens? They put a blackberry on, and it'll plug. If there's enough of them, it'll plug the combine. That goosh will, and then the juice will get on the. We'll get on the podium, but. The juice will stain the beans, and then you can't sell them because, your navy beans is, some of you know what I'm talking about. So what you plant is what you're going to get. I didn't plant them, but that's what I got. And now I have to deal with what I got. And I got a trooper of a wife. She's been out there, and I don't think any of your kids help, but I had, It's like the church project when you're building a church or doing whatever. The first day you get a whole bunch of people. My sister goes to Bethel Baptist in Brookings, and I said, Peg, anybody in church, kids that want to pull weeds? And so she got 4 through another person. The first day everybody shows up. The second day, half of them show up. The third day, nobody shows up. But Ann, so she's out there walking all by herself. It sounds like an excuse, but I couldn't go from here to the door, and I couldn't do it. But so she's out there, but she did say, it's over with. We didn't get done. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. My whole point of all that, you get what you plant. I didn't plant that, but I have an issue that come up that, okay, we'll see what happens. So, anyway, that's what I want to talk about there. Both spiritually and physically. What you plant is what you're going to get, spiritually and physically. It's a law that's in the scriptures. It's there. Every action has results. If you plant it, you're going to get it. And what are you sowing? Are you sowing to the flesh, or are you sowing to God? Are you trying to please God? You will reap those things. If you're trying to please yourself, that's what you're going to reap. But somebody said, yard by yard, life is hard. Inch by inch, it's a clinch. And I say that to say, for their life to go right, your children must learn to think right. And I started way back when I started this, making decisions. It's not like, well, I did that one when I was a teenager. I made the decision to follow the Lord. It's not a one-time thing. It's not that you get saved. That's not what I'm saying. But it's a daily decision. Make choices daily. It's not like, well, I prayed last week that God give me the decision, my decision maker would be good this week. It's a daily thing. It's it goes back to that inch by inch. If you're daily seeking the Lord, help me in this decision. You see, you can't just stamp it and, oh, that's good for a week now. I prayed last week about that. No, it's daily. It's your walk. Every day you need to follow the Lord and make a decision. I'll pick on Matt for a second, but if he's building a house, which he does, I'm just going to skimp on 28 2x4s for the wall. Well, when you get the roof on, all of a sudden, it starts making decisions early on. And that's what starts with your kids, making the right decisions when they're young. You don't build a house and, oh, I better put some more 2x4s in to hold the roof up. You start it right away. Teaching your kids. And guess what? That means you have to do it. Be the right decision maker, the right parent that you should be. Okay, I got to move on. Number 1, so teach them and ask them, what are your options in this situation? Ask your kids, okay, you want to do that? Don't yell at them, don't scream at them, but what's your options? If you think you're going to do that, what do you think is going to happen? Don't attack, don't criticize, but listen. What do you think? Have them, I don't know, I never thought about that. Well, let's talk about it. But don't attack them. Get them to talk. Get them to share. If you think, what do you think? Yeah, I guess I never thought of it. Teach them. That's what you're there for. And it's hard. It's not easy to do that. It's easy to say, listen to me, kid. I know what I'm talking about. Go to your room. Teach them. You got to teach them. Somebody's got to teach them. If it's not you, I guarantee there's somebody else out there that will. And it might not be what you want. I just read this week. The government spends millions of dollars. I hope I get this right. The government spends millions of dollars teaching prisoners how to read. But they won't allow schools to teach kids what's right and wrong. I thought that was kind of a good little thought. You agree? You think that? I thought that kind of caught my eye. Yeah, that's true. But parents, you need to teach your kids what's right and wrong. That's why it's important to come to church. That's why it's important to be what you should be. You'll never get done being a parent. Never. It's there forever, which is a good thing. So what are your options in the situation? But do it with the right attitude. If you face it like a cloud, they'll run for cover. Man, all mom or dad will do is yell at me, so I'm not going to talk about it. Don't. Teach them. Learn them. I don't know if that's a good word. But listen to them. There's no right, there's no wrong answer, but we're going to talk about it and get them through that. Teach them. And that's what's hard. It's hard. You're all busy. You're swamped. It never stops. You're going from sun up to sundown. And it takes time to teach these kids. I got to take 5 minutes. I need to teach them this. And it's a sad situation when mom and dad are the bad example. Then you have another problem. But it doesn't stop. Well, once I get to be 18, I'm done. No, mom and dad, it doesn't stop then. It keeps going. What's your life? Is it an example that the kids can look at and say, you know, my dad and mom plowed through this, and they did the right thing. As Forsberg always says, do the hard, right thing all the time. Do the hard, right thing all the time. All the time, do the hard, right thing. And it's not easy to be a parent. It's not easy to take, oh, man, I'm supposed to be over here and on this job, and I got to spend 15 minutes. I got to teach these kids this. If not you, who? You're going to leave it up to the cell phone, the internet, or some dirtball down the block that has no spiritual guidance? Parents, we need to do right. Even if it's hard, we need to do right. We need to teach them right. There's no right or wrong answer. Don't judge them. All suggestions are acceptable. You're priming their creative pump. You're getting them to think, encouraging them to think, to discover the truth. I never thought of that. And we take it for granted, and they haven't learned that yet. It's your job to teach them that. I got to keep moving. What are the benefits? Come from each option. The goal is not to coerce them to do what you want them to do, but to help them to discover the truth on their own. Oh, I never thought of that. I don't know if this is right or wrong. This is right, but I don't know if it's right timing, but I'm going to jump in. The preacher said here a couple weeks ago, he does not have a problem with going to, and he doesn't go to bars, but with alcohol. I socialize with people totally different than he does. You know, I'm with these guys that, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. They're not church people. Most of them are not. And I personally don't have an issue. I could go to and I don't, but I did the roof here at the bar. I think that's the second time I've ever been in the bar in Elkton. I was doing the roof and had to talk. It just kind of gives me the creeps, but I went in there and I don't have if 10 people, here's a better example. When I played with the cops, the police in Brookings, every one of them dirtballs, they'd be drinking beer. Come on, eat and have a beer with us. I said, if anybody in this crowd ought to knows what alcohol does, it ought to be you guys. As you go to the car crash, the guy's drunk and you killed somebody. Or you go to and the guy beat up the wife because he's drunk. If anybody ought to know what alcohol does, it ought to be you guys. Yeah, even you're right. We shouldn't. Hey, give me another beer, Joe. It's like, really? But I have other things that maybe you don't, but you have things that I don't have. What are you going to do about it? Be careful. Decisions making. And I'm not going to get personal, but and I'm not, well, I guess we only have one teenager here, so forgive me. Are you sleeping? Okay, go to sleep because I'm going to talk. No. But teenagers especially, and it doesn't stop at teenagers. Adults are the same thing. But you need to make your decisions. How do I be careful on how I'm saying? I'll go back to the house. I'm going to change this up. I'll go to a ship. When they build a ship, they don't build it and then it's out in the rough seas and a hurricane comes up. Boy, we should have put some extra bracing in there for this storm. The decision was made way back here when the ship was being built. The house's decisions was made way back here when you looked at the blueprint. Kids, the decision needs to be made way back here instead of in the back seat of a car or wherever you might be. That's not when you're going to make a good decision. The good decision needs to be made now. You decide what you're going to do, what you're not going to do, and you know what you're going to do and not going to do. When that situation comes up, as the storm of love hits that ship, or when that house starts leaning, the decision was made way back here, this is what I'm doing. So when that ship's out there, it won't have a problem. That house being built won't have a problem of leaning over. Teenagers, and it's not just teenagers, adults can be the same thing. When that decision comes, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, hopefully that decision is made long ago, and it's not a big deal. I can go right through it. I don't have a problem going to the drinking with. I made the decision years ago. That's not what I'm going to do. It's easy for me. But there's other things that aren't so easy for me. As with you, there's things that are not so easy. Teenagers, make those decisions now, not when you're in the heat of the battle, because it's going to come back and it's going to bite, and it's going to bite hard. And it'll affect you the rest of your life. And adults are no different. It will chase you through the rest of your life. You don't just, I'll erase that bad. Some of them you can, but some of them you can't. It'll be with you forever. So be careful. Boy, am I getting on a ramp here. That was nothing in there about that. Sorry, forgive me. I was wrong. You were right. And I love you. You love me, I hope. But what benefits come from those options? That benefit is decided over here, not over there. Please, 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 parents, teach your kids that. And parents, you're not, again, I can't emphasize that enough. It doesn't stop when you turn 21. Those decisions are different. And there's decisions that you need to, I remember teaching up there in that youth class. Kids, you need to know what you believe now. When you get out of high school, when you get out of school, it's going to be a different world. And that's going to be knocking. And you better know what you believe and don't believe in. You better know what's right and what's wrong. It's up to you to give them that. It's up to parents. It's up to our church to give them that safety net. I can't do that, man. It's just wrong. Please don't take it lightly or take it for granted that they know this stuff. They don't. And adults should know this stuff, but they don't listen. So they're being led by another force, and it's not God. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. Keep your mind clean. Keep it clear. You got people watching you. It doesn't matter what stage or who, but people are watching every one of us and everything we do and say. I mess up all the time. Just quit flapping my lips and I wouldn't get in trouble. But be careful what you say, what you do, and how you do it, and where you go, and who you're with. Everybody doesn't have a pure, clean motive. Trust me. There's people out there that want to destroy you, and they'll do anything they can to flip you up, to trip you up. And it doesn't stop when you're a teenager. It keeps on going. Adults, mom, dads, you're sitting here and you got issues, whatever, do right. Do right. There's people needing, counting on you. Your kids are counting on you. There's people in this church are counting on you. The preacher's counting on you. God's counting on you. Keep doing right. Keep putting that right. I'm going to keep doing right. Keep doing. Don't quit on God. Okay, I have no idea where I'm at. The benefits from the options, I got that. What negative consequences come from which? We kind of covered that. Kids are brutally honest. That's okay. That's part of the learning process of them. Oh man, I got to really skim over now. Junior, are you willing to accept the consequences of what you're about to do? Are you willing to accept it? Because this could happen, but maybe not, but this is what could. Are you willing to face, if you're going to go 50 and a 30, there's some consequences. Oh, okay. But teach them some godly things. Teach them the importance of godly values. Prime their pumps, truthfulness, trustworthiness, loyalty, responsibility, compassion, friendship, self-denial, courage, honor, faith, elect. Teach them those biblical truths. If they're not going to hear it from you, who are they going to hear it from? You are the person that can dictate their lives where they're going with God's help. Proverbs 4:23. Oh man, oh my, we don't have time. Proverbs 4:23. I was going to go there, and I had some good stuff there. Here's another good question. Junior, Joey, or Susie, what are you going to feel like afterwards? What do you think is going to happen afterwards? I don't know. Well, tell me, what do you really think? I mean, get them to commit. What do you think is going to happen to that reaction or that thing you're tempting yourself with. Shame, there's no wonder. And I'm going to put this on the parents' problem. No wonder this world is upside down. It's parents. Where are the parents in this stuff? Where's the parents teaching them what's right and wrong? How the school do it. The school's not going to do it. You need to do it. Boy, there's another whole chapter there. How other people feel about their decisions. Trust. Proverbs 22. Trust and respect others is also needed to succeed. Reputation trumps money. Reputation trumps money. And it doesn't quit when you're 19, 20. Your reputation will continue on, Judy, it continues on. Your grandkids now, your kids. It doesn't stop. You can't stop. It's going on. Man, I'm just coming. If you have a reputation of a troublemaker, that's what you're going to be. Negative reputation is hard to overcome. I had a whole bunch of that. Negative reputation is hard to overcome. Don't go there. Oh, man. There's another really good part I thought was good here somewhere that I wanted to... okay, I think this is it. And I'm jumping in, and I had Ecclesiastes 3:7. But can the decision be made later? Yeah. This is not where I wanted to go. Reducing the element of risk. Pressuring children often increases their depression and leads to premature decisions by assuming them that the time is on their side. I was talking to a friend of mine, was my banker, and his wife. He found his wife cheating. Rick, what do I do? What do I do? The first word that come to me was this. I won't say his name. Time is on your side. Time. Don't react. Time. Be careful. Just think about it. You don't have to make a decision now. Do this, this, this. Time is your favor. Time is your friend. Okay. There's another one there. It's really good. I can't find it where I wrote it. But there's a time to be silent and time to speak. Okay. I got to quit. Thank you. Let's close with a word of prayer. Father, thank you, Lord, for how good you are. Help us, Lord. Give us wisdom in all things we do and say. Thank you for each one that's here. In your name I pray. Amen. Thank you.